watching you because you know what you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And
And
I've
it
got
does
a
say
couple extra.
it does say webinar is now streaming live on YouTube. That's right above your head, Brian. I'm in, I can see you, but I don't know if you can see me.
And we need to get Sandra in because I want to see also what it's like when we have two people set up to do the interpretation. So I think Sandra was looking for her link. I mean, I can see you, but I don't know if you can see me.
Oh, okay.
I wonder what link, Sandra, you might have used because I don't see you as a panelist like the way Roger came in. What is cool is like in the participants drop down, like next to Roger's name, it says interpreter and it says Spanish.
And Sandra and Tammy are under attendees. There's the 4 panelists.
Yeah, and I expected that for
Sandra's
Tammy.
an attendee.
I expected that for Tammy, but I did not expect that for Sandra. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to promote Sandra, you into the main room.
There you are.
And I'm curious how we could hand the baton off if we had to for interpretation.
And
let's see.
Roger, you can hear us and you can hear Tammy Castillo-Schiffer. No, okay. But she can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, because Tammy's because she's playing the role of an attendee, like, you know, the general public,
Audience
right?
member.
She's just listening only. Yep.
Well, which makes sense then that he can't hear her because he wouldn't not want to be interrupted by a bunch of questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Oh, I got a Chromebook I got to fire up and see if the Chromebook can hear this in the multi-channels.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. I know this is kind of sit and do nothing and then hurry and do nothing again, but I appreciate you. All these pieces are needed to figure this out.
And I absolutely think it's important for
Yes,
our parents and our
Sandra.
community, for sure.
We can see Sandra.
Sorry, I'm just filling out a birthday card for Peggy. What? No, you know what? Let me mute myself.
No, that's so funny. When I get home at night, I package up your stuff that I sold on eBay. And last night my husband.
So Sandra, I'm curious.
No, you're fine.
Maybe what I'm going to do, at the risk of breaking things, I'm gonna try to take Roger out of the role of interpreter.
Okay.
To see if I can hand it off to you.
Okay.
So the interpretation should stop right now. Roger, if you talk now, I'm assuming we're going to hear you.
Okay, you hear me? Okay.
Yep, okay. And then, let's see.
It's giving me the options to choose if I want. It has an interpretation button and it says off, and then it has English, Spanish. So I imagine if I click one, then I become the interpreter for that.
I think you are correct. Let me go. Oh, I've got an idea what it might be. Roger, did you get a new prompt right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, Sandra, I'm going to look up your Zoom account real quick, and maybe we need to tweak your Zoom account And that's
Okay.
maybe why it's not giving you the prompt that we wanted you to get.
Okay. I have a question for you since you're doing that. I see on my screen, my picture looks really kind of fuzzy. Is it coming across to you guys the same way? Not clear? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way to remedy that?
What device are you on?
I'm on a laptop, district laptop.
You know, Oil of Olay sells a cream that you can use, Sandra, and it.
I personally like the fuzzy look. All right, I'll have to use that. Forget L'Oreal. I'll use the Oil of Olay.
That is a rat answer. So, Sandra, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you disconnect.
Okay.
I'm going to try to send you a new invite to
Okay.
see if we can get you into that role of translation. So I'm going to go ahead and remove you right now. Actually, if you just leave the room yourself, I think that's better. I'm afraid
Okay,
if I do it, it won't let you back in.
And then I'll
just wait until you get the next, you'll get another email from the SMBSD family email address, and you'll use that link.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, poor Vangelis is still out there.
Oh dear. Actually, I'm going to invite him in. Let's go. I'm glad you said that. Thanks for the reminder. Can you let him know an invite's coming to him right now? Sandra, welcome back. Vangelis, welcome to the room.
Hello, hello.
Sandra, hey there. Sandra, I still haven't figured out why I can't put you into that role. Your account looks fine, but I am going to try to put Vangelis in that role right now to see what it might be.
Okay.
Oh, and I've got an idea maybe. All right, Vangelis, I'm going to see if it'll let you become our Spanish interpreter. You just get a pop-up right now.
You just ended it, no? The interpreting?
I was trying to turn it on. Oh, maybe I hit the wrong button.
I got a
It-
pop-up
it-
that said language interpretation has ended by host.
Yeah, it's because it was on and I was in it,
Oh, okay.
so you probably turned it off.
Sorry about that. Let's try it again. This will be trying to pop this out to Vangelis.
You have been assigned an interpreter. Okay.
All right, Vangelis. So now all these pearls of wisdom that are streaming into your ear need to be translated in Spanish so Tammy can follow along. So here it is. So this string walks into a bar. Vangelis, are you translating, my man? The string walks into a bar, and the string sits down, so it's gonna have a drink, and the bartender's like, "No, man, we don't serve string around here." And he throws the string out. The string goes outside, really kind of frustrated. Vangelis, I feel like I'm giving you this good stuff, and Tammy needs to hear this. And she's out there, and she's the only Spanish speaker, and you are her connection to this, and you're not making it happen. And we're trying to test this.
What's the Spanish for dad joke?
Yeah. This is a padre something. Okay, so the string is super disappointed, and he ties a loop on his end, and he messes up his hair, and he walks back into the bar, and the bartender starts serving him. And a few minutes later, the bartender goes, "Hey, aren't you that string?" And he goes, "No, afraid not. I'm afraid not. Afraid. Get it, Kristen? I'm afraid not."
Dad joke.
Because he messed up and then he tied a knot. All right. Well, when I get to tell at the board meeting, I hope you all laugh.
How many slides does that take?
I can do it in 30 slides.
Rebecca could do it in 31. Like, name that tune.
Name that
She
slide.
went there. All right, let's go.
Okay, so is Tammy hearing anything from Vangelis?
No, because Vangelis is very shy. All right.
I see him talking to somebody. Must be Tammy. He's making shrugging gestures.
So I am saddened to say, but not totally surprised. I don't see a place on a Chromebook to activate translations for someone who's listening in on a Chromebook.
And Tammy's saying that she can hear the English speakers and Vangelis.
Simultaneously?
Oh, that's what her little
Well,
note in the chat says.
I think the way that it works is that so the English speaker is going, and then as soon as the Spanish interpreter starts talking, then the English will go to like 20% or something, and then the Spanish interpreter, you'll hear him the rest of the percentage. She just said that there's also an option to mute. Well, she can't hear me because Van is talking to her right now.
So let's see. I'm going to now, Roger, I'm going to put you back in the role as interpreter again. Actually, I'm going to do Sandra first because I have an idea. I wonder. What I'm wondering is if it won't let me have more than one person doing the same language. So Sandra, I'm going to put you in charge of French or German, your call.
French.
French,
All I can
got
say is oui, oui.
it. Okay. So are you getting,
Yes.
you are now. Cool. All right. If you can follow along and just make sure all of our friends across the Atlantic are following along, that would be great. And then Roger, I'm going to try to double down and break it by making you Spanish, which I think is going to fail, right? But that's what I want to know for sure. Because we have to kind of figure out, like, if we were doing a long meeting, what does that look like? How would we do a handoff? All right, Roger, here it comes. Whoops. Spanish, anything?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you do? All right, well, let's see if you accept it. What happens to Vangeli's feed to Tammy?
Okay.
So as I'm talking, Vangelis and Roger, if you can translate for Tammy, we'll see which one of you that she hears or if she hears both of you. She hears them both. Okay, cool. That's wonderful. I think we have one more thing to check, and that is, does YouTube give us audio options?
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm going to turn off interpretation and bring us all back together. Boom. Hey there. And watch, maybe I can bring Tammy across. Boom.
There's Tammy. It's tea.
Yay! Up
Was
and
he
eating.
Were you eating?
With rice cakes.
We were all working.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, at least you pushed the
She's
cord
having
light out of the
fun.
frame. Goodness.
Cornholes in the back.
Clearly.
I was
Some sort
having
of
so much
barbecue.
fun not being seen and just being in the chat. I was eating and drinking. It was great.
Busted.
I know.
All right. So, what are our observations or thoughts or our wonders? So a couple things that I picked up that I wanted to find out today is it didn't work on the Chromebook. So as a participant, they need to be on anything other than a Chromebook. Like, we know it works on iPads and we know it works on most phones, as long as they've got like a recent Zoom client, and it works on PCs and Macs and everything else. But right now, the weak spot is a Chromebook. And then I'm in YouTube watching the feed, and I don't yet see like a place to select different audio channels, but after I'm done with our conversation, I'll go back and look closer, but I'm not seeing it. So it just means that like people who want that, we would need them live, right? Because it's happening. You know what Tammy, the room Tammy was in was our same Zoom room, but just off to the side as just an observer, which is normally how when we do board meetings or others, like, it's not typically how we do it, but we could. So that's an option. Any other observations about anything that was weird or janky?
The
I have a question.
interpretation seemed to work really well. I mean, I could hear the cool thing was when Roger and Van were both there, so the switch off should be super easy. I'm wondering, could we broadcast like two things simultaneously, where one would be Spanish and one would be English, if we did it, like maybe if the system didn't do it itself?
Right. I'm thinking. I'm sure there's a way. It would be a little tricky. I think what you would be doing is you would have a computer that no one's really using on. You'd have it set to Spanish mode, and then you would be like recording the sound and video, like just recording it, and that would be like a like a movie file that then you could upload into YouTube or something like that. So it would just be like a separate like recording. So I think that's how you would do that.
What if we
have
had
an idea?
a second YouTube channel that was Espanol? Could you do it that way?
You still need like a way to, so like the way we go from Zoom to YouTube is in Zoom, there's like an embedded link to go, okay, I want to be able to post this on YouTube. And so that's where the initial YouTube comes from. It's coming out of Zoom directly. And then inside of Zoom, they basically make that handoff straight into YouTube. with the audio that's happening here in the main room. The interpretation piece is a feature of Zoom that I don't think it's crossing that barrier to then, join into the YouTube feed. So, I can research some more because I'm sure people have found different ways to do this. There's always a way. It's just, is it how fast can we do it? And maybe it's two different things. Maybe it's, live. We use a process that you were in, Tammy, where it's like we post up the link. Here's the Spanish link, right? Or here's the link that has both options. Really, is what it is. And that's the one we put up, as fast as we can once the board meeting starts, just kind of like we normally do. And then separately, we would need to figure out how do we record and then later post the YouTube version that's just the Spanish track. Because by default, we'll have the English one recorded because it does that naturally because it grabs again like that main room, and we have that live and we have it recorded. So that part's done. So just be about having the computer turned on and recording the audio that's happening in Spanish. So I just have to figure that out. No problem.
Now, when Brian, you were talking, you mentioned there would be 2 links or a choice of link. So all the various room links that you sent to Sandra and Tammy and whoever, that's kind of internal. And we just click on whatever
Right.
link you send us that puts us where we need to be. Then it's for the community and parents where they could have a choice if they're watching live of 2 links.
And
Is that
I
correct?
think, thinking out loud, I do think it can be just one link because really Tammy joined with one link and she had the choice as an end user to choose between English and Spanish and to go back and forth, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a parent, let's say we're interpreting and a parent, well, is this just going to be for board meetings or is this also going to be for LCAP, DLAC? Is it going to be for all meetings? Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I know board meetings, this doesn't happen, but LCAP meetings and DLAC meetings, all the other PAC meetings, parents have questions. So if we're interpreting into Spanish and then they ask a question, do we just ask it in English? Are the other people going to hear it or no? You see what I'm saying? The English speakers, will they be able to hear that? How does that work?
We tested that out, Roger and Vangelis, remember?
Yeah, I
And,
think we
and
were
you
using
could hear everybody?
yeah, I think we were using like an inverted, where the main presenters were the interpreters, and so that's the only way it could work because the interpreter can't. What he's saying, he might have to switch back to the English channel or turn off the interpreting that way, because otherwise everyone else can hear because you don't want the presenter to be hearing the interpreter as he's interpreting.
So the interpreter,
Yeah, that's
would,
tricky.
so the interpreter would switch into English so that to be able to ask the question.
I don't know.
I wonder if in those bigger meetings, like I'm thinking like an LCAP stake, where we have quite a few people and we usually have a couple interpreters. I wonder if you have one person who's set to be just the English or Spanish receiving, and then you have the other person who is the more flexible person who doesn't have to bear the weight of the entire, what's like all the translation, but just when someone in Spanish speaks, their job is to make sure that information that the parent says in Spanish gets put back into the room. So like you would be listening, you would cut over, oh, here comes a Spanish question. I'm going to cut over and listen. And then I'm going to switch back. Again, that's like your secondary person. Like, because otherwise your primary person would be just like it would be too much. But
Right.
if the second person's job is just to listen for when a parent asks a question in Spanish and make sure it gets fed back into the main room, I think that would work.
Yeah.
That makes
If we can hop back, then that would work. Otherwise, maybe like the other person, the one that's not interpreting, can put it in a chat or something. Type it in.
The response, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll take some time too, like from just like for participants in the main room, like whoever's facilitating the conversation, to get used to like for that wait time, right? Like, so if Angeli's doing the main translating and he's talking with a parent and the parent responds, like the facilitator needs to like know to like hold tight. We need that time for that parent's, comments and sharing to come back into the main room. Cool. Good question. I know, there's a high interest to make this happen, definitely in the LCAP stakeholders group, right? Because we just have such a large, wonderful bilingual group. And rather than having to do like twice through every PowerPoint and twice through every conversation. So even if it's a little tough at first, it'll probably be better than what we're currently doing of having to do everything twice.
Mm-hmm.
When is this going to start?
Today, right now.
Yay!
No,
so
I don't
that
know.
means so that means my meeting tonight I'll be able to do it simultaneous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vangelis.
I was going to say that I think the only reason why we haven't started using it is because the majority of the parents that join our meetings join in a Chromebook.
Right.
So that's why what Roger mentioned at the beginning, we had to make the main room the Spanish, and more likely the English speaking are connecting maybe with a laptop or a phone or whatever. And they do have the option to select like going into an interpretation room, and they were the ones getting the information in English per se. But the interpreters were the presenters, so that way all the parents in the main room would be able to hear the presentation in Spanish. So it's a little bit trickier, but that's the only way we figured out we could use this program or this feature in our LCAP and DLAC meetings. Otherwise, our parents cannot, use that feature of interpretation.
So in that scenario, Vangelis, like that's a total separate Zoom room that gets created, and for the Spanish presentation, and the translator, they're in both rooms and they're listening to what's happening in the main room and then translating it for the second Zoom. Is that what's happening?
We had two devices. We had
two devices.
Yeah, one was in one room and it was just to listen. The other one was to talk. So it's a lot more complicated for sure. It's not ideal. That's the only way for Chromebooks, I think, to get Spanish.
And then the actual presenter who was presenting in English couldn't hear themselves unless they had two devices as well.
Yeah.
Tammy, do we need to do a survey to our stakeholders group to know like what % of folks have an option other than a Chromebook?
Yes, I think so. I was trying to finagle some iPads that we have at SUSE that were purchased with LCAP funds for something, but would it be possible to be able to configure those for our LCAP stakeholders and just get those out to them? And then we could just run it straight like it should be?
Yeah, for sure. That wouldn't be hard at all.
Okay. I'm going to go back and chase those down then.
Cool. So I don't know if we're going to do this yet on the next board meeting or not. It's kind of interesting. We don't have a ton of folks tuning in on our board meetings. Like I usually keep an eye on it, 30, 40, it's not very high. So, I mean, we do have, if someone wants it, then we have to do it. That's the law, right? And we have that I think that's part of the board packet, like just like, when someone steps in the room when we're in a physical, right? And clearly they ask for it, we do it. But if they're not in the room, right, we don't necessarily provide that when they're not in the room. So I guess, do we have an audience there? I don't know. For the typical board meetings. And when you think about the 30, I know that about 15 of those are staff, right, who are told they need to watch it. So our actual, outside. And I don't know, because I mean, our board meetings are so interesting. I don't know why everyone doesn't want to watch. Well, first of all, there's probably not enough dad jokes. I know that. And I'm ready to fix that. So we'll find out. I'll let you know if we're going to do this. But I think for sure we're shooting definitely for the next stakeholders group. And so Tammy, rounding up those iPads will be helpful, and then my team can help get them programmed to wherever we need to do.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else?